e-commerce product pricing. 10 years in the business, and our competitors got it all wrong. Okay, how's that? So, what are your objectives? You have got to sell your products. State the bleeding obvious, right? So how do you achieve that though? Sell your products, yeah, obviously, but how? And how do you maintain, or how do you try and achieve a margin on your products so that you're in business this time next year? The main thing is you need to be active. Prices, when you're one of 30 retailers, one of 100, one of 300, a price moves, prices change. And it means you definitely need to be active, because when someone shops online, this is my belief, they'll go to Google Shopping, find the product, find the lowest retailer, and providing there's no big red flags like they don't have it in stock or terrible reviews, the person's going to buy it, the customer's going to buy it from the cheapest store. So all else equal, there's a Latin phrase for that, ceteris paribus, ceteris, I can't remember. All else equal, they're going to buy from the lowest price. Now, there are also lots of tactics that retailers use to take them to make them the lowest price, and we'll go through some options for you. The results are that the bulk of your stock is actively sold. You won't sell it all in the same amount because some products are just more popular than others. But a metric I used to use, if a product hadn't sold in 3 months, the price was too high. So what we found was, say a product hasn't sold in 3 months. Let's do a work through example. You reduce the price, let's say 5%. Now you need to give it a certain amount of time to sell at that price. Let's say it's a week. We worked on a week. So on a weekly basis, we would review anything that hadn't sold in 3 months. So a week later, it's not sold, another 5% off the price. A week later, another 5% off the price, and so on, until it sells. You've then got to look at, okay, what price did it sell for? And is that level of margin acceptable? If not, you need another system that says, do not stock this product anymore. Or I need to talk to the supplier and say, you need to give me a better price, so I can't sell it at the price you were giving it to me at. The other thing you can do is work with your supplier to push your competitors to raise their price. Now, there's lots of laws around pricing and what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. Generally, we saw a complete free-for-all. People just did anything. I think really it's only going to become legal if you are a national retailer and someone has a problem with the way you price a product. For most retailers, and let's say Amazon, you can do whatever you like with the price. Okay. So the last thing to consider is for an e-commerce store of, say, baby products, they're not perishable goods, but you definitely don't want them around forever. You know, once a box has been in a warehouse we would always go by seasons. If it's done one winter in a warehouse, it's got to sell before the next winter. Absolutely. 2 winters in a warehouse and the box changes because of moisture, temperature, sun, aging the box. And then for goods that say have a expiry date, like dog food, the product needs to sell well in advance of that expiry date. So you'd need to be a lot more aggressive on your pricing with perishable goods. than you would be on non-perishables, but they still need to sell. And the last point on perishable goods like dog food is when new stock comes in, don't put it on top of the old stock. Classic error. You need a second. So what we would do, so dog food would come in on a pallet, and say it was just a partial pallet. We wouldn't put that stock on the old stock, and we'd sit that pallet and we'd wrap it like with masking tape to show that it's the other pallet that had to be picked from, because that one has to go before the new one when you're doing like a top-up system. Right, so into our e-commerce platform, we built a pricing system that, because how are you active in moving your prices? Are you just going to employ people to sit there and search products and move pricing? That is too inefficient. You need to build a bit of tech that looks at all your competitor prices, suggests a price for you to go to, and you don't just want to automate it, because some people, when they're out of stock, set their price to $1, and then you're going to match that $1, and then you're going to sell all your stock at $1. So you have to have some human intervention when you move a price, but you want it as automated as possible. So we had a scraper that picked up all the competitive pricing of a product. We would then filter our scraper of, if we're not the lowest, show me the product, and then show me the competitive pricing. We would then match competitive prices where we wanted to make sure we were competitive. And we also reversed it and said, what are we the cheapest on, so that we could put our prices up to match the highest competitor. Because people do put their prices up, you wouldn't believe. And then anything where you're matching lowest, we wouldn't change price. That's the first system we ran. The second system we ran was a CSV download and manipulation of the data to say, if we haven't sold this product in 3 months, drop the price by 5%, or 6 months, whatever you want that number to be. And each week we would monitor how many products we hadn't sold in that 3-month window or that 6-month window. Because the stock has got to turn over. And it does require, we thought, weekly, a good analysis, and it was time well spent. Because as soon as you start getting active with those prices, the products do start walking out the door, which is what you need. The second system we had on perishable goods was it didn't pay any attention to the competitors. It dropped the price by an increment every day. It ran the system at I can't remember what time, 1 a.m. It said, if we haven't sold X amount in X many days, drop price by 10p or 10 cents. Chink. And then once the sales were at a certain level, say 5 sales in 5 days, it made no change. And if sales were greater than 5 over 5 days, it would put the price up. So we built that for our pet website. And it was actually really cool because, in the UK, there's a brand called Skinner's Maintenance, and we wanted to sell 20 bags in 20 days. So we set that metric. If it was over or under, it put the price down or up, depending on which way it was. It's a really cool bit of tech. Why, you're now thinking, didn't you use that in the nursery industry? Well, the nursery industry, the pricing was much more controlled by the brands. They wanted everyone to be at a set price, and had I switched on that bit of tech for baby products, we'd have just had no end of grief. So instead we had a more scrape, analyze competitors, match or not match. Whereas the pet food industry, you can do whatever you like, and we then had this bit of tech that had a rate of sale price alteration technique. Both systems, very cool, and probably took on a per day basis, just to check they were working, up to half an hour. Prior to that, building of that tech, we did them manually. Just picked a brand, picked a list of products, and just sat there Googling the EAN code to get the competitor's price. Very, very laborious and definitely not worth doing. It's 100% worth building the tech to assist you, because when you've got 10,000 SKUs, there you go. That number just says it all. You can't do this manually. You must build tech. And there are tech firms out there that can do the scraping for you and even build the API to then make the pricing semi-automated. Okay, now on to the hacks around e-commerce pricing. Now, what I was always amazed with was how other retailers must think you're stupid. Now, so let's take an example. A product selling for £100, you're matching your competitors, you're all at 100. And one store puts a code onto Google Shopping. Here's this code, use hello10 and get 10% off. So now they're £100 minus 10%. So I would match 100 minus 10%. And then what would be fascinating would be, I get a call from the manufacturer, why are you the lowest price? I'm like, well, I'm not the lowest price because these 3 companies all have 10% codes. Oh, okay, I understand. Exactly. So I was like, I'm matching lowest price because they have the code. So then, in the end, it was a massive war. You need to remove your code. Oh no, not going to do that. Blah, blah. Or we bring in a code to compete with this, under the headline price, the code. And then another trick people did was sign up to the newsletter, get 10% off. So either via code or by signing up to our newsletter, get 10% off. You can reduce your price without it showing on Google as a reduced price. You can even put codes on the product page itself if you've got a particular sticky product, and maybe you're under pressure not to lower the listed price. You have to then find out other ways. Another thing you could do is add a freebie. So buy this push chair or car seat, get this hand warmer for free, or get this rain cover half price, things like that. But obviously that's adding to ticket size if you do a half price. If you do it for free, they may interpret it as a discount. But we generally found they weren't that successful because people actually just want the money off. They don't want the rain cover. They'd buy it if they wanted it. So we always found the best way was to just list it at the lowest price. If we were under pressure, we'd add either a code to the page or the Google Shopping. And failing that, I never did the newsletter pop-up, get 10% off your order. Or sometimes it was for your first order, get 10% off. But we all know the hack around that. You just introduce a new email address, so you get 10% every time. I hated codes like this, and I hated shops that did this. I just thought it was so cringy, vomitous, approach to sales, where there was just all year round a code running. And I was not a fan. I liked pure price. And I used to, push back quite a bit on the manufacturers to, put pressure on those companies that always wanted this background code running, because it was super frustrating. So just to summarize, you definitely need to be active in your product pricing. If you've got, I'd say, more than a couple of hundred SKUs, you need to build some tech. If you're on Shopify, there's tech available to help you. Otherwise, there are definitely developers that can help build a system, and build a system you want. If you subscribe to an app to help you with the pricing, it might not be the way you want to price. I always thought it'd be quite fun to have just erratic pricing, like plus minus. Because I also think Google had a way of promoting you if your prices were active. I think it could tell that a price had been changed, so it suggested you as a shop to buy from. I honestly think that happened. I wasn't a big fan of the pop-ups or the codes or the newsletter or the first customer stuff. I always found that really cringy. Definitely drop products where you don't make enough margin, and unfortunately you need to be active. It was always I had this dream of e-commerce as that it could become like a stock exchange, like a market, like an active market. I'm willing to sell this product at £100. Oh, I'm willing to sell this at 99, at 98, at 97. Forgot to mention, say at 97, suddenly there's loads of demand. The price goes up to 98. And I thought potentially there could be an arena for a market style approach to, like a stock exchange approach to retail. But a bit like, I guess, how the Amazon sellers all list up within one product and it's the lowest price that wins. So they're kind of there. Obviously, there's no people coming from the other direction. There's only sellers. There's obviously the buyers are just invisible and they can just hit your bid if they want it. I was going to add something. Oh, that's it. If you hit a price and demand's too high, you got to put it up because you don't want to run out of stock. I've touched on that many times. If you're selling too many, you need a way of the system flagging. We've sold too many. You need to put the price up. So again, that should be built into your tech, or you should be watching your sales if you don't have too many, and putting up the price of a product that's selling too quickly. I think that's it. I hope that's some good tactics, and I hope I covered everything. That's it.